Hello, I am Jason Sedita.
And I'm Carm Gaffredo.
And together, we are the founders and co-hosts of the NOFC podcast.
Our podcast focuses on first responder life and the issues affecting first responders, both active and retired.
We are both retired from the New York State Police, having worked two completely different backgrounds, one in uniform and the other as an investigator. Together we hope to inform and entertain you all. Good morning, NOFC podcast. We are at episode 26 of the NOFC podcast. Its title is going to be Health, Pain, and Resilience. And no matter how many times I try, I cannot do this without looking at the phone. And we are at episode 26. Me personally, I apologize for the delay, and I'm sure you do too, as Carm. We've had some life happening between the two of us, and here we are.
Episode 26. We do apologize for the break. It's been a while. So before we get into the content, health, pain, and resilience, we just want to make a brief mention for those who don't know. Retired state police investigator Joe Dawson passed away earlier this week. Jay and I both had worked with him. Joe retired from the state police in 2022, I believe, and moved down south to Myrtle Beach, where he got a job part-time as a Myrtle Beach police officer, which is a very common thing when you retire from law enforcement to get another job in law enforcement. So Joe died unexpectedly. We just want to make a brief mention of this and honor his legacy. He was a great investigator, and the last time I worked with him helped with working a homicide case down in Rockland County, where Joe did some great work. So Jay, I know you worked with him. If you want to tell a little bit about.
That's Joe. Yeah. I worked with him in patrol for a few years. Good guy. Absolutely good guy. Decent cop, decent investigator, pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I really can't, it's another one of those guys that, I would have a problem in this instance, speaking badly about him, because no one deserves to be spoken badly about, but, I can't really say anything bad about him. We had a conversation closer to my retirement, and he was excited for me. And then he also explained his plans of retiring and going down in the area of Myrtle Beach. And for those of don't know, the first thing he did when he went down there is he was a captain of a boat down there for a little bit. He did that for a little bit. That was his passion. That's what he loved to do. And I'm not quite sure what steered him to the Myrtle Beach PD, but that's what he did for approximately 6 months, where unfortunately he passed away a few nights ago. So our thoughts and prayers are definitely with his family. It's he's only 49.
He's only 49.
Remarkably too soon. So
well, I just want to say too that, he was one of the guys I stayed in touch with. One of the few guys I stayed in touch with truly after retirement. We talked about his retirement when we were working that murder case together. And he talked about his plans, and he left, and then this happens. He's got a pretty young son and a wife, and I just think it's the right thing for us to pay his his tribute forward, and to say he was a great guy. And it hasn't exactly been a great week for police agencies, and this is definitely one of those things. So to his son Nicholas, you're just know, if you're going to see this episode, your dad was a great man and great to work with. So condolences to the family and friends.
Yeah, you should be proud of your father for sure. And we apologize, at least I do, for it's nearly impossible to mention, as you just said, every police officer that passes away. And not only in the country, even within the state. So we apologize for that. We tend to try to keep it for individuals that we know, but just know that we think about all those families as well when those situations come up. All right, so let's get into let's get out of the doom and gloom and
Yeah.
take this moment, and we'll move on to something that we wanted to talk about. And it is a piggyback of previous podcasts. And so again, before we do get into it, I will say that what happened this past week is we were supposed to have my new financial advisor on, and I actually became friends with him and a former trooper, Patty Flint, who had moved down to West Virginia. They sent me a property down there that they thought I'd be interested in. It was 27 acres, and it had a dog kennel on it, and it was an auction. And I actually bid it on it when it started out at 60 grand, and it ended up going for like 225 or 230. But the interesting part of West Virginia is two things. It's extremely remote, and then it's extremely cheap. The property tax on that property, what the owner told me, on 27 acres was $269 for the year. Absolutely crazy. So that's where I was last week. I viewed the property. I did put a bid on it, but I set myself limitations on where I wanted to be. And I think that's important, setting goals where you want to be. And if you can't get it for that, then it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
similarly, our health goals, right? We
Mhm.
talk about this all the time, and I don't know how you wanted to kick this off, but like, you've been struggling now. Was it been 4 months
Since
with your?
early August. Since early
Yeah.
August.
Okay. So you had this. You can speak about it, but you had this acute back injury that then became now chronic, and it's
Yeah.
been a definite thorn in your back, not thorn in your side, thorn in your back. So
Mm.
explain what happened and what you've been going through with your back, if you don't mind. And if
Yeah,
you
and
do, still do
I,
it.
I don't want to turn this into it's not a poor me thing. It's
No, no,
everybody's got
no.
their problems and their pains,
Yeah.
and for me it started lifting something, and I found out very quickly when I lifted a big piece of bluestone that I was that I did some damage to my back, which ultimately culminated in a few weeks later going to the ER. Northern Dutchess Hospital, by the way, shout out to them, the ER and Northern Dutchess Orthopedics, great outfit. Um, and I ended up in physical therapy for a long time. I'm still in it, but I'm a lot better. The pain is gone, and I've been working out like a fiend, which I lost like, I don't know if you could tell or not, but I lost like almost 10 pounds, and um, starting to feel good, starting to feel really good. And but the purpose of bringing the topic up is, fitting into the the podcast title, Health, Pain, and Resilience. This podcast is not just for first responders, it's for anybody who happens to stumble upon this episode. And it's just kind of a, hey, we see you. Everybody's out there has some sort of pain or discomfort, whether it's physical, spiritual, psychological, whatever you're going through. Just know that you matter, and just know that you can get through it. You know, this ties into the whole mental wellness thing as well as physical wellness. And Jay and I both have been active participants in exercise, and him much more than me. But for me, getting my back in order and strengthening my core has been absolutely life changing. And eating clean and drinking a ton of water during the day and fasting during the day have been very, very instrumental in my life, as well as the exercise. So, why is this important for the police and first responder worlds? Just know that at the end of the day, when it comes to that agency, you're just a number. You really don't matter to them. They can say that you matter, but they really don't matter. And who you matter to are your family and your loved ones. And, when you're going through tough times, it filters through into every little relationship in a microcosm of that relationship, whether it's your husband or wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your kids. You tend to approach things in a darker fashion. You tend to react to things that you shouldn't react to because of the pain. And the purpose of this podcast is to, number one, acknowledge it, but number two, talk about ways to get past it and to be more resilient in the end, right? I think that's what we're trying to get to here. So let's discuss health, pain, and ultimately resilience, both physical and emotional resilience. What are your takes on it?
policing, first responder community oftentimes criticize each other for our visual appearance, for our mental status, um, or our mental clarity, maybe. And that police officer looks overweight, that police officer's a whack job, whatever the case may be. And although it's extremely important in your duties and what you're doing, it's even more pivotal for your family life, for your afterlife, for these years, for the years that me and you are going through now. And it's never been more relevant than right now. You know, we've discussed time and time again how, like, as you age, these little ailments become more and more significant. Keeping up with your doctor, keeping up with your water intake, your healthy eating, and at the same time having a lifestyle which you could also enjoy yourself with a few alcoholic beverages, your cheat day or days, whatever you want to um, align your schedule with. But the main purpose, in my opinion, is just to focus on your well-being for factors of being on the job and with your family. Because if you don't, the results are going to be catastrophic. You know, I see pictures, I see people who I haven't seen in a while, and this criticism that I just spoke of comes to light because you see that people aren't taking care of themselves. And as we discussed right before we started this podcast, I don't know if we could say 9 times out of 10, but I would say a higher number of people often have physical issues due to contributing mental issues. Those usually go hand in hand. If someone's having something difficult that they're dealing with,
Yep.
relationship wise, whether it's with your wife, whether it's with a good buddy at work, whether it's with a significant other, a sibling, right?
Yeah.
Stuff that we're all going through, 9 times out of 10, or somewhere in that vicinity, your physical health is extremely affected by that. And the one thing I try to do is to make sure that I find time to go to the gym to get that disconnect. And as we just discussed, I kind of got myself in a rut and I was just going through the motions because I needed that mental disconnect. And I found myself getting bored, more tired because I wasn't being fulfilled at the gym. So I
Yeah.
had to do something and switch it up to get that the endorphins flowing again and to get that like feeling, you know what I mean, when you're done and you can have that mental clarity to
Yep.
deal with these issues that you have.
Yeah, the dopamine part of that is important. Yesterday I went for what I call a walk, run, hike, and I ended up in probably one of the most beautiful places that I had never discovered before on a trail in the middle of fucking nowhere. And I took a great photo of it and I posted it to social media because it was just like the picture didn't even do it justice. It was like something like you see, you know, in a Ansel Adams um, piece of work, and it was so inspiring to me to go for that moment to release the endorphins, to get some oxygen in my lungs, to get out of the house, to get, you know, to get where I needed to be. And I think it's important to realize that you got to take those moments. You have to enjoy those moments, whether you're with yourself, whether you're with your family, but it's important to disconnect. And this is important, especially poignant, because if you look at Joe Dawson, he's a prime example. Great guy, man. And he died at 49. And it's like, you know, enjoy your fucking life, enjoy your family, enjoy your loved ones. Try not to be so critical. And it's a short ride, man. Like that, that I never would have guessed. He seemed, you know, pretty healthy, and never would have guessed that he would have, he passed away, you know, and without getting into his situation, and just respectfully, just to mention his age, you know, he was young, and here we are, you and I are there, you know, and a lot of our friends are there, and to get out there and enjoy your life and enjoy your family and try to make it worth it, and to fight through that stuff is sometimes not easy to do, but it's essential that we do it. Um, and let's face it, health tends to be at the core of happiness, right? Your health, your physical health, your emotional health, it tends to be at the core of your happiness. If you're down, you know, both of us have been through those periods. We've known each other a while, and, you know, we've both been down and we've picked each other up and dusted each other off, and, you know, snap out of it and fucking get real, and move forward. And I think that's the important message to be had here, is that you have to enjoy your life. When health depletes, for whatever reason and pain sets in, it's incredibly difficult to be happy, and you have to force yourself to be happy through exercise, through nutrition, through a great book. I'm reading a great book right now, by the way, called 1 Second After. I think I mentioned this to you last week when we spoke.
Yep.
1 Second After, great book to read, by William Fortune is the guy's name, I think, about an electromagnetic pulse that happens. It's a work of fiction, but it's very interesting because it's based on a reality type scenario. So yeah, you got to do stuff to get past that, to find yourself a center and to bring yourself back to happiness, whatever that happiness is.
Sure. And on a side note, as you're speaking, something popped into my mind, and I was a victim of this for many years. I would not pay attention to what's recommended getting physicals every year. I would
Mhm.
skip 5, 6, 7 years. And yes, it's more important as you're older, but even for our younger listeners, in any profession, as you mentioned earlier, you could be the tip top health, and it's so important just to get a physical, get that yearly blood work done, just to see where you're at, see where your levels are at, see where you can improve, and see where how just because if you don't have a baseline, there's nothing for them to go off of later. That's one of the things. I just recently went to the doctor and I had some blood work done to check levels of where I was at. It's more with some of them because I was so tired and drained. I had my testosterone levels checked because I figured my numbers had to have dropped.
Yep.
And I got my results back, and it wasn't bad. I was in the 400 range, which is within norm. But the doctor said, he's like, that means nothing because your normal could have been at the higher range of 800. And if you
Mhm.
dropped more than half, that could be the reason why you're significantly tired. Your level could be higher than a normal person that's feeling great, but they could be, their normal level could be that 400. So it's important to get your levels checked and on a regular basis, whether that be your testosterone levels, your blood, everything. That's what I recommend, and some
Yep.
type of physical activity. I think a
Well, more
lot of
importantly,
people get.
let me interrupt you. If you need to
Mhm.
get stuff checked and you need to get your heart checked and you need to get a complete cardio workup, and at our age, if you need to get the prostate exam, if you need to get it done, if you need to go get your what do you call it? Your scoped from the bottom.
Endoscopy,
Colonoscopy.
colonoscopy.
Jesus, I couldn't think of the word colonoscopy. I had mine done a couple of years ago. You got to get that stuff done. If it means you have to take time off of work to do it, if it means you have to take sick time, troopers are worried about their beloved sick leave, not burning their sick leave so that they could sell it back when they go to retire. Guess what? No one fucking
Yes,
cares. It
and
doesn't
it's that
matter. What
that
matters is your
that's
health.
that sick time is not going to matter if you don't take care of shit ahead of time.
Yep.
That's the important part. Not on top of no one fucking caring whether you have enough sick time or not. And I think there's a lot of the younger guys that are starting to get it. I had a conversation with I say younger, but 40, that after we spoke about Joe Dawson passing, and the conversation consisted of, man, when I hit my 20, I want to retire so I can have time, because you never know. Even with everything that we just got done saying, the
Mhm.
healthy of us, the healthy of us all, healthiest of us all, you don't know what your time. You don't know when you're gonna go. We could go both. Either one of us can go out today and go for a ride, and somebody could T-bone us, and that's it.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
we've
even
seen
more
it 1,000
important.
times over.
It's even more important, like you said, to enjoy moments, to enjoy. I can't tell you, like, between my individually, and then me and Gina, my wife, how many times we just go for walks, hikes, just get out, enjoy the fresh air,
Yep.
enjoy your life, enjoy your life.
Disconnect from
So
social
important.
media, disconnect from checking your social media 20 times, 30 times a day, disconnect from the news, reconnect with yourself, reconnect with your passions, reconnect with your loved ones, reconnect with actively listening to what other people are going through, and take care of your mental and physical health. It's I'm a firm believer in that. And we tend to get caught up in our lives. We tend to get caught up in our business affairs and the stuff that's making us unhappy when we should be forging new neural pathways to the things that do matter: physical health, spiritual health, getting out, reconnecting with the woods, yesterday was a really amazing day for me because I was just able to just ground myself. You know what I mean? And I came back and from that, and I um, made a great salad for dinner, and watched a little bit of football, watched a little bit of everything. It was good. It was a good day. So
Yeah, I find that many of your hustlers, so many of your, there's a lot of hustlers. Let's just call them hustlers, the guys and or girls that are business savvy and all they want to do is work to make more money to set themselves up or to set their children up or to do or just because that's what they love to do. And I
mhm.
absolutely love that because I am like-minded when it comes to business. I am always and Gina hates it, but I'm always looking for a next opportunity. I always want to do something. And I find typically those type of people are the ones that neglect their physical well-being because they're so laser focused on business and finances and getting their nest egg to where they want it to be, to where they're putting their health on the side burner because they have their missions and they don't want to push them to the side. So
Yeah,
for those people, kudos to you. I have a same like mind, but I don't have that drive to go above and beyond like many of you do. But take that same drive that you have and refocus it towards doing something physical, in my opinion, just to kind of even it out because you're doing yourself no good when you become overweight and you become
yep.
at a higher liability for these chronic issues, COPD and all that good jazz.
Yeah, it's
Um,
we tend to, and first responders often tend to be the worst offenders when it comes to maintaining good health and
I
regular
know.
doctor's visits because you get caught up in working overnights, you get caught up working, you know, you it- when I worked the Catskill back room, shit, when my last assignment at Haverstraw, every other night you're getting called in for something, for a fatal on the Palisade, for a fatal motor vehicle accident on the Palisades, for a dead body in the state parks. You know, you're getting called out constantly. So your energy levels are shit. Your mental clarity is shit because you're not focused in on what matters. And ultimately it's it it doesn't do you well. And you gotta, so again, we're gonna reiterate this. Focus on your health, focus on your loved ones, focus on your family, because in the end that's really all that matters. You know what I mean? Is how you played and what you did. So
Yeah.
um
Terry Joe spoke about that in her podcast with her on how being a dispatcher, sitting around, it was very easy to eat your not necessarily and she said it was great the way she said it because it wasn't necessarily shit food. The food
mhm.
was delicious. It just wasn't your clean food. How about that? It wasn't your
Yeah,
clean food and the stuff that your body needs to process appropriately, right? Because when you're sitting for 10 to 12 hours and you're eating greasy food,
yeah.
that's just clogging shit up and there's no good recipe for that. There's going to be one outcome. You're going to get overweight and you're going to have issues. So
Well, I just used to jokingly say, when you're working overnights and it's 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning, what's out there?
yeah.
Convenience store,
Right.
pre-made burgers and hot dogs and chips and, pizza that's left. There's no, you have to actively be an active participant in your own health and your own nutrition. You know what I
And
mean?
yeah,
Cut out those carbs.
who's really good at that? Our buddy Leanna, the enjoy the suck. Leanna is
Embrace the
I
suck.
tell you, yeah. What I say? Enjoy, embrace.
You
Yeah,
said
embrace the
enjoy.
suck. Embrace the suck. Leanna is she should be a poster child for nutritional eating, in my opinion. She is religious on bringing her on prepping her food and bringing
Hmm.
it to work. She's one of the best I've met in 20
Toby,
years in doing
Toby
that.
Schuler, on the other hand,
Toby
exact opposite.
Toby would be on the complete opposite end of the spectrum to where he would bring in pastries from his family's bakery on a daily basis. You asshole.
Yeah, or he would say, "Oh, today's going to be Portuguese Day at Haverstraw," and he would go pick up Portuguese food, which was phenomenal and delicious. But
It was.
every time that you'd work down there, that's what I'm talking about. You end up working with people where you end up having the same, let's just say, less than healthy things instead of a salad, instead of drinking your water, because it's, you get the Noche de Colombia coffee with the heavy cream and the sugar, and it's Colombian coffee that's made. This is this is what happens. You become complacent with with not feeding your mind and your body the right way, and it's an epidemic in in our former profession. It really
So
is. So
let's sidebar that real quick. Let's just sidebar for all the Karens out there. We both, Carm and myself, both partake in all of that stuff. I still drink here and there. I still have my sodas here and there. I still eat crappy food here and there.
yeah,
It's just that when you
moderation.
take your yes, thank you. That's a great word. It's moderation. When you take a totality of everything that you intake during either a day or in a week, be mindful. You know what really worked for me, which I don't do enough, is journaling. If you journal, tell you what, journal what you put in your mouth.
Yep.
Journal what you put in your mouth. And then at the end of the day, go
Yeah.
read it. And if you're okay with that, then you're good. Because once you read it and like not put it in your phone and
Yeah.
look it up, because that goes out the door. Put it in a journal, write down what you ate, and then just write down the calories. That's it.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, add it all up and look at what you ate. I guarantee you'll change your eating habits. You have to.
Yeah. Once you start to count all of the things that you're eating, and especially at night, my Achilles heel at night is
Same.
I like to have pretzels or chips, and I used to have I liked a glass of wine or a little sip of scotch. I did away with that. The last time I had something to drink was actually happy hour on Friday, and I had one drink and I stopped, and I tell you what, I feel so much better not feeding my mind and my body with garbage. You know what I mean? It's invigorating, honestly. I don't know if that's a word to use in this situation, but
yeah, no, we were talking earlier and you said that the way you said one of the reasons that you are able to do this is because you purchased a Tickle Me Elmo. And every time you want to eat something, you just activate the Tickle Me Elmo and it makes you
is
feel
it because
better
I have a
inside.
red shirt and Elmo's red? Is that what made you mental register on Elmo?
For some reason, that just popped into my head as you were saying that, and I figured,
by the way,
would be
Jay,
a good Tickle Me Elmo.
Jay complimented on my shirt earlier.
I love it.
Yeah,
I fucking love it.
yeah.
For those of you who are not watching, it says conquer your demons through sweat and
Steel, sweat and steel.
So that means through working out, sweating, and lifting weights.
Yeah.
And
It's
it's
made by
Defiant is the maker of
Defiant
that.
is the maker of the shirt. So comfortable
Yeah.
shirt. Highly recommend them. They're good for workouts too because they're not too heavy to let you breathe when you're doing a pretty tough workout. It's the truth. What did I want to touch on? We kind of sidebarred.
Yeah, a few times. Typical.
Yeah.
Oh,
Back
you wanted
to chronic pain, right?
Mm.
Like, so for me, back to that situation, I had never
one.
really
one.
experienced chronic pain like that, like longer term pain. And for a lot to people, it's very much your adversary. Like it really depletes you. It beats you down. It makes you, not want to actively participate, go out with friends. It makes you not want to go out and get into the gym. It makes you not want to go out for a hike. It makes you not want to be with people. You know, the chronic pain part of it is, and the thing that really, and this is what I'll say, the thing that really got me past that part of the chronic pain was forcing myself to do the things that I needed to do to improve my physical health and my mental health. And not that I had any major issues other than being mildly depressed because of the back stuff. But for those of you out there with chronic pain, many of you probably already know this, but focus on, if you actively focus on the positive things in life, your family, the things that make you tick, books, reading, music. There's nothing more therapeutic to me than listening to incredibly, incredibly loud music and getting a good workout in. Right? Like
it is
some Shinedown, some Metallica, some whatever you're into, crank it and grind.
Some Enya. Remember
Who's
Enya?
that? No.
And she's anyway, look her up. Going back to your point, which is a phenomenal, fantastic, absolutely perfect point, is a chronic pain. There are probably more people than not that fail to do anything at all because, oh, I have a bum shoulder. Oh, my lower back is horrible. Oh, my neck. And those are, as we build those excuses,
Yep.
we build our pain, and we build less of a desire to do anything physical because everything's compounding, right? And
Sure.
there's no desire to do absolutely anything because, oh, if I do that, I can't because of my hips. I can't because of my back. Oh, my left knee's been killing me. Do something. I've been having this chronic issue with my shoulder, and the new workout that I started to do, and it was very humbling. I
Mhm.
don't need to shoulder press 110 pounds in each arm. It's not
No,
necessary.
no, it's
You can,
definitely not.
I had probably one of the best workouts I had, starting with 5-pound dumbbells and going up and tapping out at 12-pound dumbbells and just maxing out rep wise to failure, doing correct form, connecting your brain to your muscle, and understanding what you're trying to do. That is the key component, in my opinion, when you're working out. So
Yeah,
many people work out because they think they should, and they don't understand the necessity of connecting your brain to what muscle you're actually working when you're working out, right?
to
We just go through
isolate it.
these motions to isolate it and
Yep.
to visualize what that muscle is designed for and what the purpose of that exercise is,
Yeah.
right? Otherwise, you're just going through motions. People
Yep.
see the machine at Planet Fitness where I go, and they look at this diagram, they say, okay, I got to push like this. And then on Planet, it actually will highlight in red what muscle you're supposed to be working. But unless somebody's there to explain to you how to properly work that weight,
Mhm.
there's so much into it that I working out for over 30 years, and the gentleman I just started to work out with, he's a phenomenal instructor. Starting at your feet, when you're doing any pressing exercise, your feet go into cement. You do not move your feet. And then how your form is in these exercises is it's life altering when you're doing them correctly, because you're not experiencing the pain that you had before because you're doing this stuff correctly. So
I I actually have an interesting podcast idea. Um, we do a podcast from your gym where we dress up as Hans and Franz from Saturday Night Live.
we're here to pump you up. Yeah, let's do it. That one, and there's a lot of ideas that we have that never came to fruition, by the way, over the past 26 episodes.
Haven't yet.
Yeah,
Operative word
that's a
is
good,
yet.
I like that. I like that.
So
I'm
there's a
encouraged by that.
you're right, and I'm going to give myself credit for that because it was actually pretty good. So there was this sign in the sergeant's office of the SB Haverstraw barracks that said, and you remember this as well, right? You remember where it was? It was right behind one of the sergeant's desks. It said, "Unless you puke, faint, or die, keep going." I'm going to repeat that because I think it's a really profound statement. Unless you puke, faint, or die, keep going. And that's kind of like the trooper's mantra, right? Like you're training, you should be working out and doing things so that if you get into that wrestling match with somebody you're placing in custody at 3 a.m, unless you puke, faint, or die, keep going.
I love that saying. I have my brain's not processing it because what does puking have to do with stopping? You can still go if you're puking. I've seen many people.
Well, momentarily,
I
I guess people have to puke and
I I
yeah,
completely get the fainting or dying part because you literally can't. But
yeah,
the puking, the point of the matter is, going back to, again, one of our favorite sayings is embrace the suck.
embrace the suck.
And another one which I absolutely um thoroughly enjoy, which is, I don't remember who deemed this phrase, but this too shall pass. I love this. I love that
Yeah,
saying. This too shall pass. Whether you're on your highest horse or whether you're at your lowest low, depending on your thought process, usually it's more beneficial for those who are at what some of their low points to understand that wherever you're at, it will pass. It may get worse, it may get better, but it'll pass. That moment in time will pass. Losing a loved one, I remember, and it's Jesus. It was 2016. I lost my father. I didn't think I was going to be able to function.
yeah,
And I almost feel bad about being here today, being completely fine. Well, I say that with a grain of salt because I'm not completely fine, but you get what I'm saying. Like, never in a million years. That was the person I was closest to on all this earth, minus my daughter,
yeah.
who now has taken his place. But like, it will pass. You'll get over it. You'll learn how to survive and push forward.
And the other part of that statement too is for those of you who have people in your lives who matter, who are going through stuff, to be an active listener and to try to help them get through their situation, their trauma, their stuff too. You know, we are all guilty of not actively listening. We a lot of the time when we get into arguments in our lives, you and I are guilty of this too. You're already coming up with the rebuttal before you truly listen to what the person's saying, right? And in
That
our marriages, our relationships with our kids, you know, it's again part of that positive mindset is to actively listen to what somebody is going through and to try to. And I'm guilty. I'm the first one who's guilty of it recently, of course, too. You know, it's like let that person feel what they're feeling and try to actively listen to what they're dealing with. You got a trooper or a sheriff's deputy or a city police officer who's going through a tough time, you know, ask them how they are and don't ask them to talk about what you're going through. Ask them for the sake of asking to see where they are and to see what you can do, you know, and because that's ultimately what matters is that we need to be there for each other because the agencies and the administrations don't really care about you. All you have left is us caring about each other to get those people through what they need to be to get to the next step in their journey. I just think that's important to point out because that's equally as important.
I would tend to 100% agree with that statement because I also is probably my biggest kryptonite is my non-listening skills at times because the way you described it, once again, it's very weird that you're describing me to a T sometimes where as somebody's talking you're already 3 steps ahead. You right, because that's what we do. we
That's
try
what we
to
were
we
trained to
try to
do.
we try to rebuttal to prove a point, to be
Yeah.
right, to be smarter than the next person rather than just listening
Yeah.
to what somebody's going through
And I
and
wasn't talking
saying,
about you. I was talking about
"No, no,
myself too. I literally was talking about
I
myself.
I
We're
know you
both
were,
guilty.
but I
I
bet
think
it's
everybody's guilty of it, you know?
yes, but understanding that it's okay to be human too. So
Yeah.
having these faults is okay. It's like anything else, like I said with relationships, just make your part to do better. You have something. What do you have? A gift?
So I wanted to do this at the beginning, and my mind, honestly, is not exactly here today, as you could probably tell. Uh, I have a patch that was sent to me for your wall uh, from the Catskill Police Department, a department that I worked with pretty intimately in my past when I was assigned to the SB Catskill Barracks as an investigator way back when, from 2007 to 2012. Seems like an eternity ago. But this was sent to me by Steve Dietz. Steve Dietz is an officer who I worked with extensively in his career. He just retired. So this is also a shout out to Steve to say congratulations on your retirement. You were always a phenomenal dude. He was the president of the PBA there too, and just a great community policing person and a great person in the community. It's definitely the loss of Catskill PD. It was really wonderful to work with him. At one point, he was a detective in the department as well. And so, Steve, congratulations. Thank you for the patch. I'll make sure that Jay gets it and puts it on his wall. So, congrats, brother.
Steve, congratulations and much appreciated, buddy. Any ideas on his plans for retirement? This is why I'm going to catch myself. Why is that? Why is that? Why do we do that?
Because
What does it matter?
Because we have to find
it's such a fucking typical question. What is he doing?
Yeah.
I'm such an asshole. Congratulations, Steve. You do what the fuck you want to do. I don't care what you're doing. Enjoy your life. I'm taking that question back. I don't want to know. Don't tell me because I know you want to tell me. And you're not going to be able to not tell me because it's right there and it's fine.
No, I'll I don't know if his plans are exactly public, so I don't want to
Yeah.
But
It doesn't matter.
He
retired.
He seems happy, and
Good.
another guy that I stayed in touch with even after I retired because he was always very good to everybody there in the village of Catskill, which is right down the road from me, about 8 minutes away. So again, mindset changes, focusing on the positive. One of the things that I'm starting to do now is every night before I go to bed and when I get up, first thing in the morning is I put on something funny. One of the things that's been making me crack up lately to try to change my mindset is the old show 2.5 Men with Charlie Sheen. hilarious show.
Yeah.
Whatever, some sort of stupid comedy clip. Um, your mindset changes, focusing on the positive, forging those new neural pathways, listening to comedy, reading your book, nutrition, getting regular exercise, which I wasn't doing honestly, and I've been doing it religiously now. Therapy, uh, something that I'm not ashamed to say that I started to do years ago and recently picked it back up just because it's a good thing to do. Even if you're good, I always called it an oil change for the mind, so to speak, so that you can kind of hone in the things you want to change about yourself to make yourself a better human being for the people in your life. Phil Salinardi, again, to mention his name, he was good in that episode that we have, and he said the same thing. It's an essential thing that you do for the sake of yourself and for others, especially for those who work in first responder positions, whether it's police, fire, medical. It's incredibly, incredibly important. What am I forgetting?
I don't know, but I will tell you one thing. One of my, well, I don't know. Worst attributes is that I don't even know if I want to call it. I've always been very, very successful at compartmentalizing um, relationship issues, physical issues, psychological issues, right? Anything that I
Uh-huh.
had, what I tell you before we came on, what was one of my phrases to anybody that would run their mouth, or if I'd have a disagreement with somebody, or if something happened, my go-to phrase was, do whatever you want. I'm not going to lose sleep over it tonight. And man, that shit came back now the past few months and has smacked me in my face to deal because uh I got to be completely honest and transparent. I am, for some reason, scared of therapy. I'm scared of therapy. And I think that maybe some others maybe.
Sure.
And if for any of those others that are and have gone, maybe understanding that I'm 50, so maybe reach out with your experience to what made you got over it, because it's something that I borderline refused to do. You've recommended it to me on more than one occasion, and I spoke to another mutual friend, and I told him that you recommended it to me, and he said, "Yeah, you should probably listen to Carm. You should probably go." And for some reason, it's one of those things where I just can't commit to it. I've not even made any appointments yet to commit to it.
Well, you don't even
Um,
have to commit to it either. Yeah, I mean, it's something that you can do.
no,
It's kind of,
I just mean making any appointments or
oh,
going to see
okay.
anybody, or that's what I mean by commitment. Not like going through on a weekly basis. Obviously, that's another in and of itself, but I think just making that commitment to go and make the appointment and make that initial contact with a therapist to say, "Hey, listen, I have some demons I want to uncover." Because quite honestly, I don't know how to bring them up, and maybe that's what their profession is, to try to um, unearth it so that you can realize what these issues are. But
Yeah.
there's some deep seated ones, I'm sure.
I'll talk to you after the podcast about who I went with. And again, I think there's like some stigma attached. Unfortunately, there's stigma attached to people who
Yeah.
go talk to a therapist. And
Mhm.
honestly, it's the thing I likened it to, and that I've likened it to in the past. And sidebar, I started to see a therapist after Dave Lane died. Um, uh, and then other losses that I suffered, that we suffered. You know, when you see your one of your good friends deceased, who you just had lunch with, and they're in uniform, it takes a toll, right? So like if you don't address those things and you tend to bury it in a bottle like I did, it has effects. It has effects on everything that you do in your life, right? So for me, I don't think the stigma is worth what it's cracked up to be. Like, you're just talking to somebody who's a trained professional who gets to know your life. And it's almost like talking to a good friend who's trained in in methods to help you find out, extrapolate the meaning behind why you do the things that you do. And that's it. And there's no profound crazy thing that happens. It's just, you find yourself going, yeah, okay, I can see why, that happened in my life, or how. And it's just something that you need to do. You don't need to do it. It's something I needed to do. Everybody's personal, uh, in that in that situation, but it's definitely something that helped. And I don't think there's nothing to be ashamed of. You know, it's again, it's an oil change for your mind. That's what I keep calling it. However you only go. Phil said he goes once a quarter. You know, that sounds about right. It's whatever you want to do. And if you want to break into that and try to discover, you know, relationships in your family, right? Like you and I have discussed that family relationships are tough.
Yeah.
I think it's an important step for those who are willing to do it, but you have to be willing to do it. And it's nothing to be ashamed of at all. It's like
Yeah.
going to a doctor for a physical exam. You know, it's the same exact thing, essentially.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean
Yeah.
you're crazy. It doesn't mean you're crazy. It doesn't mean you're weak. You know, it makes me go back to that old movie, which was great. Analyze This with De
Mm,
Niro back in the day with Billy Crystal as the therapist. I found that movie to be hilarious and,
yeah.
pretty accurate. You know what I mean? And the
Yeah.
stigma for a mafia person to go to see a therapist, right? Because they're always worried that the therapist would, you know, would tell some of the secrets. The
Yep.
Sopranos, one of my favorite series, a TV show series of all time. It was predicated upon him going to talk to his therapist. So there's no shame in it, and honestly, you shouldn't feel shame
No,
in talking
you're
to a
right.
professional.
You're right. I agree. So we'll see how that goes. On another, it's not really a sad note, maybe a slight change of topics is for those of you that are still with us, thank you. We appreciate it. And if you guys have ideas on topics, we still have the plan of the financial advisor coming, and I want to talk about that in a second here. But if anybody has ideas on topics and things that they would like to discuss, I remember a few months ago there were some topics that were brought up. Quite honestly, I forget. One of the things we were talking about, it was during the protests, riots, as you called them. Somebody wanted us to discuss a certain topic, and forgive me, I forget what that was. It's kind of, we try to, at least in my opinion, we try to keep up with current events. So keep that in mind. And with that being said, I want anybody that has,
This
go ahead.
No, sorry, I was about to interrupt you, and I'm not going to do that. Go ahead, finish your
And that's
thought.
okay. It was just about the financial advisor who also does life insurance. It was brought to our attention that we were, I don't want, I got to say this pretty delicately, but we were pretty screwed when it came to how we were set up for our life insurance.
Hmm.
So if you have life insurance and you're questioning it, even if you're not questioning it, maybe get a second opinion, just like everything else. Have somebody evaluate your plans because when ours were evaluated, it was brought to my and Gina's attention that for two individuals, there shouldn't be five life insurance policies. It should be a policy for you, a policy for your wife.
Hmm.
So, unfortunately, when we got our insurance policy almost 12 years ago now, the individual who represented us and got us the policies decided it was a good idea. And shame on us, we didn't do our due diligence and research. We trusted a trained professional to set us up. And it's nothing that's going to put us, you know, it's not horrible, but we could be in a much better situation. So he set us up, me with three policies, Gina with two policies, and individually, each policy costs $100. So we paid $500 for life insurance policies when, quite honestly, it could have been done in two, and we'd have saved $300.
Hmm.
And then the more recent financial advisor who set us up and changed everything over charged us 65 per policy 12 years later. If that isn't something that should stick out to you. So if nothing else, please have your life insurance policies checked out. I will tell you, if anybody is close to retirement and they look to take their money out of deferred comp, we had whoever I called from deferred comp kicked, cried, screamed, and almost refused to allow me the processing of taking the money out. They almost tried to convince me not to because these financial advisors are out to get you. And I was the financial advisor. I can't wait to get Sam on. The financial advisor explained to me why they tell you that
Hmm.
because of the fees and interest that you're being charged for your money to be housed in deferred comp in these different plans. And he'll explain how the 403Bs are different from the 457s and the 401Ks. They're all different and how they're set up. And it's remarkably interesting to hear about them. So I'm excited to get him on, hopefully soon. He's down in West Virginia working on his house, so
He
hopefully we
actually
can get him on.
he actually called me on Saturday, and I forgot to call him back. I got to give him a call and touch base with him as well, because I want to do some wealth management fine tuning with him as well. But yeah, I think that's incredibly important to do. What else are we forgetting? I know we wanted to talk about something else. Oh, podcast episode topics. We were going to have somebody potentially that name rhymes with Caputo, who was supposed to be on and talk about
Joe, what happened, buddy?
Some interesting topics. He kind of
he turned into Casper.
He turned
Where'd
into
you go,
Casper.
Joe?
Yeah.
Where'd you go, Joe?
Where'd you go, Joe? So we're calling you out for your complete and total
disregard for our
disregard for our presenting interesting subject matter for the viewers. So we're working on that. This is us publicly shaming Joe Caputo. Love you, buddy.
Yeah, it's whatever. Do you, Joe? Well, we'd love to have you on still, and you could explain to why you ghosted us like Casper.
We will. We'll have him on.
Yeah, we will. So yeah, I thank you very much for making this happen, Carm, as always, and creating a framework and conquering your physical, mental, and all around demons that we all try to do on a daily basis. No one's immune. Oh, that was the exact word I was going to use. That never happens. We never use the same adjective. You beat me to it. So now it feels like I'm just saying it because I said it. I swear to God, I was going to say immune. Anyway, yeah, we're not immune to these demons that we all have. Anything for the final word? I think we're good to go. I'm good to go.
Stay focused. Follow your passion. Try to be healthy. And push through it, push through the pain, whatever that pain is. And again, this is not limited to police, fire. Anybody who happens to be watching this that just happens to be a loyal follower.
Yeah.
Keep doing your thing, man.
And ladies. And on top of that, we appreciate you. We love you in a non-weird way. And keep on. We appreciate you and love you in a non-weird way. Keep it coming. Keep the comments coming. Keep sharing our stuff. We appreciate our diehards for sure. Thank you guys. Episode 26 is wrapped up in less than an hour. Thank you.